Hello and welcome back to Settled on the Field. Liz and Jeb, glad to see you again. How are you guys doing?
I am boiling up over here. How are you?
It's
Temperature's rising here too. I know.
It is. It is
No
a
doubt.
hot out.
it is game week in South Bend, so we're excited up here.
It is
Game
also
week.
game week, and I'm wearing a Notre Dame shirt, so I'm really
Uh-oh.
falling apart over here.
Got the old John Adams shirt on. No big deal. But this episode, we were gonna do a little focus items on vets to refs, and we're gonna hear from one of our own. We're joined by Mike Moore, as you can see. A special guest, Mike Moore, U.S. Army Colonel retired. He served for several years. He recently was certified or graduated through the Ref Reps, going through the football curriculum. He's down there in Knoxville, Tennessee. He might have some orange in the background. I don't know. I see more Army things than volunteers.
State flag right there, man.
The state flag. Way to represent. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, Dad. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks you for joining us. How did you hear about Vets to Refs?
Well, interesting. Even though I'm retired from the Army, I'm still doing some subcontract work with the Army. I was up in Indiana about 2 months ago doing some of that stuff. And I was in the hotel at the end of the day watching the evening news, and this commercial came on about Vets to Ref. And I was like, no way. So I pulled out my phone and I recorded what little bit I could. And I say that because one of my retirement plans, when I finally got done with the Army, or they got done with me, whichever came first, was to come back here to East Tennessee, teach something in high school, history, whatever, and coach football. Well, I wasn't able to align all that, so I was doing other things, and I was very excited to hear about another way for me to get back involved in high school sports. And so got online, started talking to you fellas. Jeb, I think I spoke to you first, and then Bill, I think I spoke to you quickly afterwards, and just kind of took off from there. So far, having lots of fun.
Yeah,
First of all, that is amazing. We love our local news channel. They really did a great job, THR.
Yeah, big shout out. It was awesome.
Yeah, so I'm glad you saw it, and I'm glad you jumped on the opportunity. And then you mentioned you talked to Jeb and myself. We welcome you on board. And then we got you lined up for the Ref Reps training, specifically for football. What did you think of that Ref Reps training? Just kind of like, as an overall experience.
Well, having unfortunately done a lot of online training stuff during my 30 years in the Army, online training is never fun. And we'll just stop there with whatever expletive you want to use. It's just not fun. Matter of fact, I think one of the modules I had to take the test like 9 times to get done with that module because a couple of 3 questions I just couldn't figure them out based off the way they were asked.
Mike, I had the same problem on that. Probably like the third or fourth one in, it was really, really hard.
Right.
Sometimes the way the question is worded, it can.
Exactly. And unlike other training I've done where, you test parts, and then when you get stuck on that part, you can go back and re-look the part you're stuck at, to get the clarity, and then you go back and test on that part again. That really wasn't an option. But having said all that, having gotten to the other side, even though it took a time or 12, it was a really good baseline, for me to get re-blued. I played ball in college. I actually had done some officiating, although it's been a while. And so it was fun to get back into the sport and thinking of, just thinking about the X's and O's of the game, and then, learning the mechanics of officiating, not just, if he's holding, if his hands are outside, it's holding. If he grabs the face mask, it's a face mask. Was it incidental? Is it a full 15 yards? Is it a loss of down? And where do you got to go on the field? Where do you have to actually be on the field to be looking? And, if you're the line judge, what are you looking at versus what the back judge is or the umpire was? And so it was painful, but very, very informative. And I've really been drawing from that, these first series of games that I've been doing. But to anybody that may log in and, hear this, there's book learning, there's classroom learning, and then there's actually doing it on the field, because you can explain it all day long when you have the time to process your thoughts and have the conversation. Snap the ball, people are moving, things are happening. You got 8 million things buzzing through your head about trying to get into the right position. Where am I looking? Am I looking in the right place? What else is going on? What's going on with the flow of the play? Bang, bang, bang. So repetition, repetition, repetition in everything. And it's all just been huge fun. Most fun I've had in a while.
That's
Put it to you that way.
That's great insight. I'm glad that you're still at least verbalizing it that way and experiencing on the field. We're going to get to what happened maybe this past weekend, but before I forget, what might you tell other first responders or veterans who are, they're contemplating getting their foot in the door. They've thought about it before. They haven't taken that step yet to reach out to us. What might you tell them, like as far as the parallels?
Well, some smart dead guy once said, the trip of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So the thing I would say is do it. Just get out there in the field and do it. Make the call. Start talking to Bill and Jeff. Figure out your way in. One of the things a lot of us first responders or military guys that we miss is not just the being a part of the team thing, not just the giving back thing, but the teaching, coaching, and mentoring thing. And a lot of people think officiating, you're simply calling it as you see it. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. There's also a lot of, hey, man, back up. Hey, man, back up. Hey, you're offsides, back up. So there's a whole lot of that crosstalk that will occur. Side note, one of the senior officials here in Knox County was my head intramural official, 93, 95, back when I was at the University of Tennessee. So I've known Harold for seems like a million years. So it's just kind of funny and cool. So whether you're in that experience or not, to the guys and gals out there thinking about it, do it, jump in. It's only as fun as you make it. You got to get beyond the X's and O's, get beyond the training and stuff, and get on the field, and it's fun.
Right.
So, Mike, you went to the University of Tennessee?
Of course I did. There's only one University of Tennessee.
And that's so awesome. And you play, what position did you play?
I did not play at Tennessee. I played at a small Division III school up the road.
Okay.
I played at a place called Maryville College up in Maryville, Tennessee.
Yep.
I played behind an All-American for 4 years who guy named Rocky Castile. Rocky ended up with a pretty decent career in the Canadian Football League. I tried to follow him, got smoked like a cheap cigar. So when I dropped out of school, met my lovely bride, joined the Army because I didn't have any money, and went back to Tennessee to finish my degree. So, it's kind of how things come together some days, right? So, no, I did not play at Tennessee. My older brother did, but I did not.
We love the D3, so that's pretty cool.
That's right.
So, Mike, you mentioned you knew one of the officials from back in your intramural days, but what was your, have you been to any association meetings? How did those go, or what was the feel of that?
I think we had 6 meetings all total. I had to miss 2 of them because I was out doing one of my exercises a couple weeks ago. I've been to 4 of them so far. First one, I was a little lost only because they were just all trying to get together and really lay the framework as it got into the season. And so I was early, but I missed some of the previous notes that kind of set conditions for it. But once they found out I was a new guy, they proverbially wrapped their arms around me. I got 4 or 5 mentor dudes that are reaching out to me at least once a week. Hey, man, did you catch this? Hey, did you see that? Hey, how'd this go last week? Hey, you got this game coming up. When these 2 teams meet, you always kind of be thinking about this kind of stuff. And so, the meetings have just been meetings. Are you up to speed on this? Have you seen that? Here's our latest talking point that we want to train on. And then they've been keeping, the first-year guys and the second-year guys back to talk a little bit more, driving home the fundamentals, the mechanics, those types of things, but also trying to get us beyond that to remind us it's supposed to be fun, be out there having fun. You can't get it all at once. Don't try to take it all at once. Focus on this, then focus on that, and focus on something else. And the second and third year guys are always trying to stop and take a moment to talk us through what they thought was either some of the strengths that they got going early or some of the mistakes that they made early. And they're really trying to share the wealth. So far, it's been a really good experience.
So I want to go back. I've got one question I want to go back to. So in Tennessee, what are the requirements to become ref? Are you just required to take the test or read the book? Or is there more of a requirement than that?
That's really all that's required, to be perfectly honest.
Are you then happy? Do you think that taking the ref reps, although online and a bit tedious, was helpful than just reading the book?
Yes,
I guess
a lot of it was redundant. I mean, it really is. I don't want to say that football's just football, although football is football. But there are some slight different rule interpretations at different levels. High schools play it one way, college plays it another, the pros do it a third, and I even think some different state high schools do things a little differently. Like I think Kentucky threw out their incidental face mask rule a couple 3 years ago. We still have that here as an example. So it was a good building block, especially for someone that had not done it in a minute and really needed to get glued back into it. And I actually think it made it a lot easier, and I was able to get up to speed a little quicker. But they did give me a rule book, and it wasn't that thick, and used a lot of simple words and had lots of pictures, so that helped.
Okay, so then so what have you started with? Did you start with high school, middle school?
I attended the varsity jamboree we had here 3 weeks ago. I was basically on the sideline and just watching a whole lot of stuff. And the way we do jamborees down here in Tennessee, it's 1 8-minute quarter continuous clock until the last minute, sort of out of bounds or scoring plays. And it gives all the local teams an opportunity to get their starters going for a quarter. So I watched 8 or 9 games over 2 nights at the varsity level. I was a Thursday night and Friday, and that Saturday, I actually got to ref and participated in the junior varsity jamboree, similar set. I thought I was only going to end up doing 1 game, but a couple of guys didn't show, so I ended up being able to do 5 games. Couldn't walk that afternoon, but it was awesome. So I got to do clock, I got to do line judge, I got to do linesman, I got to do a little bit of umpire and a little bit of back judge. So it was a good initial exposure. Now, granted, a lot of it was quick, which was kind of cool, but that helped. And then did a couple scrimmages, did a JV game, did a middle school game, kind of another jamboree-like set over the weekend. The way they do it here sometimes is a little different, and different counties do it different ways. But one of the ways they do it here in Knox County, a lot of the middle schools have teams. There's also Little League. A lot of Little League is actually younger kids, even not in middle school, and that's all flag. So this past Saturday, I got to do 4 flag games and then like 4 middle school games, 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders. 8-minute quarters, continuous clock, except for scoring out of bounds in the last 2 minutes. It was hot, but it was lots of fun because I got to make a lot of mistakes and learn a lot, and it was awesome. It was a great training experience.
That sounds like a great way to jump in. Like, bam, we are going.
Mike, it's like you're in the ocean and it's cold and you just jumped in and said, I don't care that it's cold. I'm used to it already.
Hey, there's an old airborne saying, the only way to exit the aircraft is all at once. Just jump out and go.
Awesome. That sounds good. That's like, so did you witness anything crazy? Any fights? Did you get yelled at a little bit?
There's always a little bit of that, but I was telling Jev and Bill before you logged on, in last night's game, the second game, they had a pretty fiery young coach, which was really cool. But a couple of times he and I almost, they say weapons racing, right? So I kept trying to get him out of the neutral zone. I kept telling him, hey man, get on my non-play side. Well, at one point he was not on my non-play side, and so we had a small tussle. It was all cool. What was really funny was the head coach grabbed me afterwards and said, hey man, can you teach some of my linebackers and D-backs that arm lip? I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I didn't want to throw a penalty because I didn't want to penalize the kids who were playing their butt off in a really close game.
Yeah.
And the guy that was our senior official also taught me something. I had to call short on an extra, on a point after 2-point play, running back, dive, hit like at the 2-yard line, spun around, tried to lead at the 1-yard line, but went knee down before the ball broke the plane. And I had good vision on it. But the ref came up and told me afterwards, hey man, good call, good position. The next time, squeeze in even more where you're like right on top of it. That way there is no question. Be demonstrative and own it. I was like, dude, that's awesome. Appreciate that. Nice. So I'm repping with a lot of guys that are giving lots of good feedback, and it's fun.
It sounds like you're having a great time.
Hey, I'm trying.
I have to say, it sounds like kismet that you were in Indianapolis watching our news and found Vets to Refs. It was as if we were talking to you specifically, quite honestly.
Well, you know what? Maybe you were. All I can tell you is I was glad I saw it. I was glad I made the call. I'm glad you guys answered, and I'm glad we're off and running. And now I just got to figure out how to do softball and baseball down here. But we got a couple of months to solve that one.
You got some time for that.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, it's super exciting to hear the enthusiasm in your voice. And I know even when I first started officiating right out of high school, I look forward to it every night. So that's one of the things with Vets to Refs that we wanted to, build the community that you're getting with the other officials, but also just every night you have something to look forward to, you work all day and then you get to go to a junior high game, or you work all day and then you get to go to a Friday night football game. So it's just one of those things that we thought, as ex-military guys and first responders, it's not a simple job, and we appreciate your service and everything that you guys have done. And it's really cool to hear the enthusiasm in your voice and the excitement to do it.
Well, Jen, if I can dovetail off of that, they teach you and train you a lot of stuff, when you do your career in the military. And I've never been a cop. I've never been a firefighter. Served with a lot of them. And I can only imagine a lot of their coils are the same way. They don't prepare you to retire and walk away from what you've been doing for a long, long time. And nobody talks about the gap that gets created for you personally and then professionally, no matter what job you move into, because nothing matches. All right. Nothing matches that camaraderie that comes from that, in my humble experience of my 55 years on the planet, short of being on an athletic team, something like that, the closest I've found. And so a lot of what you're hearing in my voice is what my wife calls Goofy Mike coming back out again, because I missed being a part of that. And it's just awesome. So, yeah, I just want to tell you guys thanks. It's great. And I've been talking this up with my Wounded Warrior buddies at the monthly meetings. And a couple of my neighbors are cops. I guess actually 2 guys down here are cops. And I know there's a fireman. So I'm talking it up. We're going to see what happens here. So
you never know.
That's great. We love it.
To be interested. So thanks for spreading the word. I got a question for you. It's unrelated to Vets to Refs, but it's sports related. Like we like to ask everybody on the show is, what is the favorite sporting event that you've ever been to, or that's just like on your bucket list that you've got to do?
So I spent 4 years in Hawaii, as we were talking earlier when I was stationed in the Pacific, and I got to go to the 2012 Pro Bowl, which was awesome. That had always been one of the things I'd wanted to go to. Never thought I was going to get stationed in Hawaii, so never thought I was going to get to go to that. I had tickets for 10, didn't get to go. I had to go do something else. Had tickets for 11, didn't get to go. I had to do something else. The fact I got to go 12 my last year on island, which was fantastic. Not to mention that was Russell Wilson's rookie year. To watch him run all over everybody was amazing. Peyton Manning was there. You got to pay homage to the GOAT.
Yeah.
And then Drew Brees. Of all the things I remember about that game the most, at least at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, the Saturday before the game on Sunday, they had what they call Ohana Day. Ohana means family. So you usually all your military or first responders would get special tickets to come in, bring family. Like I took my then 9-year-old with me. I mean, we're getting autographs and signatures by all the players out there. It was amazing.
Wow.
I only tell you that because Drew Brees, after they did, so the teams come out, they do their walkthroughs, all the fans are sitting in the stands, it's amazing there, right? And then the teams finish their walkthroughs and they start doing all the autographs and stuff. It's really cool. Drew Brees was one of the first guys to walk over and start doing autographs. Drew Brees was the last player to leave the field. He signed everything anybody had something to sign that day. And it was amazing.
Nice.
So that's probably, of all the football games I've been to, I watched Tennessee beat Alabama late in Neyland Stadium about 15 years ago, which was amazing. I watched Tennessee lose in double overtime to LSU in Baton Rouge, in Death Valley. Fantastic game. So big games I've seen. But the Pro Bowl is probably one of my more memorable experiences just because of the atmosphere that was there. I got to go to Fenway Stadium a couple of years ago. Fenway. I got to go a couple of years ago. And I'd love to see an all-star game. I've seen a bunch of pro baseball, but I like to see an all-star game at some point. And that's probably about where my bucket list ends. It's kind of short. But,
Great. Thanks.
I'm pretty easy.
good. You pretty well
You
had
hit
a pretty
you
good
hit that
story.
Ohana, which are some of our core values that go with refs: respect, empathy, family, and support. So you hit that family on there. It's great.
Well, we want to make sure we wrap it up in time for you to go to bed.
If you drop that dime, you're like, people are happy.
Come in here's got to go to bed. It's getting late. What
Yeah, I
time
gotta
is it
get-
in Tennessee? Isn't it only 8:20 there?
No, it's like 9:20. But I got to get up to 3:30, so I'm trying to get my 6 hours of sleep.
Hey,
There you
thank
go.
for joining us, Mike. We appreciate your support, spreading the word, and just for people out there, he completed the training in just a month, from June 21st to July 23rd. Way to knock it out. And we already see you out there on the field. Way to settle it out on the field. Thank you.
Thank
Happy to
you.
do it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, that was Mike Moore of Knoxville, Tennessee. He's Vets to Refs. He's one of our founding participants. He heard about us through WTHR TV out of Indianapolis. And so he called in and he joined Vets to Refs. So what is Vets to Refs? It's veterans, first responders, and we help them become high school sports officials. So the whole licensing process, we help guide them through it. And our goal is just to get the guys out onto the field. Once they're out on the field, the state associations will help them. As Mike talked about, they get mentors. There's association meetings. So you just have to take the first step. The first step is visiting vets2refs.com. And all our information is on there. We're on social media everywhere. Liz will give the socials. So Mike took the first step, and now he is officiating high school football throughout the state of Tennessee, mostly in the Knoxville area. And as you can hear from his interview, he really is enjoying it, and it's given him some camaraderie. And so that's our goal, is just to get veterans, and it's open to veterans, first responders, and we help you navigate the landscape of becoming a high school sports official. Coming up, Liz, you want to tell them about our meetup we're going to have?
So if you've been interested, if you've been thinking about becoming a ref in any sport, you can join us. We'll be having a meetup on September 17th at 8:30 Eastern Time. If you are interested, please email us, veterans2referees@gmail.com. You can go to our website and find our links. You can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook. That's 2 refs. And just hit us up and we'll send you the invite. And we're specifically right now looking for basketball referees, as that's coming up pretty soon. We need those basketball referees in Indiana especially. But if you're just interested in what the process is like, this would be a great meeting to come to.
Yep. And like Liz pointed out, we're looking for basketball officials at this meetup, but any other sports are completely welcome. We're looking for some Hoosiers to represent the Indiana state, finest state of basketball there is. Just some of our partners, we're going to mention some of the benefits that you get when you sign up. We're going to get you registered with your state, and then we'll get you signed up at Rep, so that'll be online training for your sport. For basketball, it's going to be Ref Masters. You get a couple months free in there and deal with NBA officials as they review footage of game film. And then running ref to keep your physical activity going and get your stretches before games. You have a game plan so you don't injure yourself. So we got you covered from foot to head, injury prone. Don't worry about it. You have some study problems. Don't worry about it. We're going to help you get set up and get you to the field. So if you have those questions, please join us September 17th, 8:30 p.m.
Looking forward to it.
Refs.com.
Bam. Also, we have a shop. If you would like a Vets to Ref hat or shirt, you can find it on vets2refs.com.